When talking about breakthroughs in science and tech, you'll often hear stories about the father of an invention. Under that model, computer vision has a mother, and her name is Fei-Fei Li. She's a Chinese-American computer scientist and the creator of ImageNet. That's the dataset that made rapid advances possible in this field of AI that teaches computers to take meaningful information from things like photos and videos and then make that information useful. I'm Jennifer Strong, and this is Shift.
Now here on the steering column is a device called Auto Cruise. You simply set the speed you want.
Self-driving robo-taxis are already on the road in 2 U.S. cities.
As the disk rotates, a mirror reflects the light in the way that depends on how the signal was recorded.
This is the 100 terabyte empty call. I present to you Electro, the Moto Man.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I would say that one of my greatest skills is my ability to interact with humans.
This episode, it's the latest installment of our oral history project.
We hear a lot of concerns about technology replacing human jobs. It's not just jobs, it's dignity, it's meaning of life. My name is Fei-Fei Li. I'm the Sequoia Professor at Stanford Computer Science Department. I'm also the Denning Co-Director of Stanford Institute for Human-Centered AI. If we don't have human-centered AI, we will be developing technology that's devoid of the human consideration. And I see this so deeply in healthcare, right? We use a lot of technology in healthcare, but there's nothing we can do, no matter how good the drug is or the medical device is, to touch human dignity, self-respect, the vulnerability. That has to come from humans themselves, as well as the kind of human compassion for each other. And these are things that, if technologies are not human-centered, we will lose that, and that is not acceptable for our civilization. So that is really the call to action for us to develop human-centered AI. I have been working in AI for more than 2 decades, and I entered this field in a time that it was what we call AI winter. So the public doesn't really know about AI, and it was a very niche, small computer science discipline. And I belong to the generation that really, I would say, took AI to the public. Some of our work, ushered in today's modern AI. And personally, the role I played especially was bringing the concept of big data into AI. About 15 years ago, that my lab was the pioneering lab that created this millions and millions of images database called ImageNet. And between 2010 and 2012, the convergence of big data using ImageNet and GPUs, and as well as the neural network algorithm, these 3 forces really are the defining forces that ushered in modern AI. I'm a new American, so I immigrated to the town called Parsippany, New Jersey when I was 15. Before that, I was born in Beijing, China, and lived in a different city till my teenage years. And my parents and I immigrated to New Jersey. And I attended public school in New Jersey and studied physics at Princeton University. And there I discovered this amazing new area of science called the science of intelligence. It was a budding area, both in terms of human neuroscience as well as in machine intelligence. So I decided to go to Caltech for a PhD in that interdisciplinary area of both human cognitive science as well as machine artificial intelligence. And I got my PhD from Caltech. And since then, I have been working in AI every day. I think I actually have a pretty typical story, and that's part of the reason that motivated me to write this book is that, yes, I'm a computer scientist. Yes, I'm a professor. Yes, I'm an AI pioneer. But in the real life, we have loved ones. I'm an immigrant. And especially given my mom's chronic health struggle for her, it's more than 5 decades. For me, it's more than 3 decades of taking care of her. And especially as the only English speaker and the only child for my ailing parents, I spend a lot of time in every imaginable healthcare scenarios. And that actually became an inspiration for some of my AI work in the last decade was really applying AI technology to try to tackle some of these profoundly human problems in healthcare, especially in healthcare delivery. But yes, life is very multidimensional, and I actually appreciate that, especially being a computer scientist doing artificial intelligence. So the idea of human-centered AI came about for myself in the year around 2017 and 2018. It was a very defining moment of my career. What happened is that I was living in a very exciting world of accelerating AI progress, and I was a leader. And I took a sabbatical from Stanford. It was kind of a standard, after a few years as a professor, you're always allowed to take a sabbatical. And I worked as the chief scientist of AI and machine learning at Google Cloud. What was really interesting is cloud is a business that serves all businesses. I get to talk to everyone from small individual developers all the way to Fortune 5 ginormous companies and have learned what the future is in AI, which is really a tsunami, in my opinion. We're still in the middle of this tsunami, and the tsunami is getting bigger and bigger. But even back in 2017, 2018, I saw how transformative this technology would be to the entire world, right? Because we're all consumers of some kind of business: food, e-commerce, entertainment, transportation, finance, healthcare, energy, you name it. So in the meantime, 2017, 2018 was the beginning of Techlash. It was at the heel of the Cambridge Analytica event, and just people are seeing technology in a different light. And as a technologist living in Silicon Valley, being Google's chief scientist of AI and a professor of Stanford, it dawned on me that we are entering a new phase in this whole civilizational, journey, and technology will play a profound role in our lives, and yet we don't talk about humans in artificial intelligence. The very name is artificial. And I began to share with my students there's nothing artificial about artificial intelligence. It is created by people. It is used to develop applications for people. And eventually it has to be governed by people. And once I realized that there's just so much that is human-centered, I came back to Stanford. I shared with my kindred-spirited faculty friends as well as the university leadership, and I said, there is a historical opportunity and responsibility for a higher education nonprofit organization like Stanford to really put a stick on the ground and define human-centered technology in this AI age. It's our responsibility as educators, as researchers, to really carry this message forward. So Stanford established the Human-Centered AI Institute, which we call Stanford High, 5 years ago under my leadership as well as my co-director, John H. Mundy. a philosopher, as well as many professors who really helped faculty from, English language, law school, medical school, linguistics, computer science, economics, music, just all disciplines came together. Political scientists, all disciplines came together to conduct human-centered research, education, as well as policy work. So that's kind of the history of Stanford High and why we believed human-centeredness is so important. And let me just add, I'm a scientist. And for me, the race is curiosity. As a scientist, to know the origin of the universe, the definitions of space-time, the smallest particles in our atomic world, there is a race, but that race is not to necessarily to make more money or to beat someone else up. That race is to discover and use that discovery for good. And I think in today's AI, we kind of forget about that race, which is how I enter the field. That's my beginner's heart for this discipline, is the curiosity-driven research and discovery, and then the race to develop better healthcare delivery systems, to discover drugs, to superpower our teachers, to make agriculture more efficient or safer. There is just, or to like map out our biodiversity of our globe. Or all this is part of the race that I care about. And this race requires better and better AI. It requires better and better AI-human partnership. It also requires all of us to understand how to use this technology in a positive, benevolent way. And that is what excites me, and I work really hard for. And I don't think we talk enough about that kind of race. The world we're living in is a changing world. It is many factors are contributing to that. It's a technological transformation. It's culturally changing. We just came out of the pandemic of the century. It is generational. We have such differences. It's a tough world to navigate right now. And add to the top of that this weird technology called AI that is so hard to understand. And there's so many jargons being spoken, like transformers, generative, deep learning, you hear hundreds of billions of parameters. And what I feel I'm eager to say to anyone who comes to me and asks me what's their role in AI, first of all, I'm very moved by that question, especially from people who are from all walks of life, right? For example, there's dancers who does creative expressions of the body, or a person in fishing industry, or someone who's an accountant, or a mother, or a teacher. All these people come to me and ask me what's their role in AI, with almost an implicit assumption they have no role, because the tech world didn't talk to them, didn't share these with them. And I always want to say, you absolutely have a role, because this technology is created by people and for people, and you have a role in understanding it, not in the way of the mathematical and programming understanding, in the way of what this is, just like we had to understand PC, just like 100 years ago, people had to understand electricity. So we have a role in understanding it. But beyond that, we really have a role in how to use it, because AI is supposed to be a tool. It's not supposed to overlord us. It's supposed to partner with us to do what we hope to do. I speak with a lot of artists who actually see how to use AI to make their creative process better. And most importantly, especially for those of us living in democratic society, you have a role to govern this technology collectively. Your votes, your voices in this civic process, it is important for AI's development. So everyone has a role. And I think that's such an important yet almost forgotten message in today's AI conversations. What worries me is so many people, even intelligent people, doctors, teachers, and also people of all walks of life feel excluded from AI, feel they don't even have permission to understand what this is or to have access of trying to understand it. And then they were promised with things like you'll have infinite time and infinite productivity and infinite everything. It just feels not authentic when we communicate AI that way. And then you get to hear there's existential crisis. I think we need to have much more nuanced and responsible conversations. AI is a tool. Every tool is a double-edged sword. It will create social disturbance as any new tools are introduced in our society, whether it's disinformation for democracy or job displacement or fairness and privacy issues. We need to face them. But in the meantime, we need to invite everybody to know how to use this to make their own lives better, make their own jobs better. So I think these conversations need to take place.
This episode was produced by me and Emma Silikans and mixed by Garrett Lang, with original music from him and Jacob Gorski. Thanks for listening. I'm Jennifer Strong.
From PRX.